All right, good morning, traders. Today is June 11th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the subscriptions, the following, the kind words. All of that helps keep me inspired to provide more and more content day after day after day. I hope you all find it profitable. I hope you find the value in my content. If not, please send me a message. I would love to. I'm always looking to improve, so thank you so much. All right, let's get down to business here. How I plan to trade SPY today? Well, let's talk about it. Got CPI data coming out this morning. All right, so that game plan's probably not going to work, but it's there in case things are unchanged and things just move sideways. All right, so my SPY pivot this morning is 601.70. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. But 830 CPI comes out. That could throw all of that out the window. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm expecting a pullback to the prior consolidation high, which is probably about 593.50. We'll see what happens, all right? We'll see, all right? May not get there all in one day, okay? It's possible we get there over the course of 2 or 3 days and then pull back up. We'll see what happens. The market's incredibly bullish, so we'll see what happens here. Okay, all of the Fab 5 are in daily uptrends. SPY, IWM, and Diamond Dow all made higher lows and higher highs, closing over bullish traps over their 17 EMAs. QQQ made an outside day. It's a higher high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. FNGB made a lower low and a lower high, still closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. SPY closed 2-hour uptrend and a 10-minute uptrend. Nice. Gold and silver both in daily uptrends. Gold made a higher low and a higher high. Is that true? I'll have to check that out. Closing under a bearish cross, but over the 17 EMA. Silver made a inside day. That's a lower high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. USO in a daily uptrend made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Silver just got through making brand new 12-year new highs. Okay, so it was taking a rest. UNG made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the flat 17 EMA. I got a performance alert. I hope everything is sounding okay. I don't know whether to press that or not to press it. We'll see what happens. Sound is good. Okay. US dollar index still in a downtrend. We like that. 99.01 is where it closed yesterday. SPY Max Pain 600. All right, with a put to call ratio of about 1 put to each call that expires today. All right, let's go take a peek at some charts. Just want to say I've got 2 starred here teed up. All right, SMR and EYE. I think one of them already started to break out. I'm not sure if it's SMR. I think it's SMR. Already started to break out. Okay, they were starred from yesterday. Some of these, I think, teed up got added in today. All right, just want to let you know these are starred. That means they're kind of in a grinder box, ready for a breakout. All right, so watch these. EYE, SMR, teed up right there. Hey, good morning, Rally. All right, let's go take a look at some charts. Before we take a look at some charts, I just need to look at gold, make sure I got that right. All right, just want to see gold just for a second. We'll go back to the charts. Yeah, it was a higher low and a higher high. Okay. I thought I saw a red candle, and it was. All right. Back to SPY. All right. And let's pull it up on the 10-minute first. Okay. Got a 10-minute uptrend. Well, hardly a 10-minute. Well, it's a 10-minute uptrend. The 3 EMA is up over the 8 EMA here. So it's a 10-minute uptrend going into the close. It's not going to matter much because by the time price gets open, it's probably going to be all EKG'd out, all right? 10-minute uptrend over VWAP coming into the close. 2-hour uptrend. 2-hour in a nice 2-hour uptrend there. Respecting that uptrend line, 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Daily chart, you can see daily uptrend coming into the close, got a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap. See the trap? That's the 3 EMA, and that's the space between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA, closing over that bullish trap. That's bullish, closing over this 17 EMA. That's also bullish. Okay, closing over the uptrend line, also bullish. Closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP, bullish. Closing up in quadrant 4, that's also bullish. All right, so closing, looking good up here in an uptrend. Okay, we got a higher low and higher highs. That's an uptrend. This is bullish. We are dangerously close to attacking those all-time highs right there. Okay, so there's SPY. What I am considering is, again, consolidation over prior consolidation. So let me just map that out so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so here's consolidation. So I'm going to take this back to, we had consolidation right through here, about 5, right there, 593.50. And then we had consolidation, and the bottom of that consolidation was about right about 584. We'll just call it 583, okay? So we had this consolidation right through here. And my vision is to see, I'm expecting consolidation, kind of the same thing, right up here to manifest and probably move over to the right. We'll see. I don't think things are ready yet. Okay, I think everything's looking good. Market's still looking for some certainty. I still think that we're waiting on final negotiations for the trade deals with foreign countries. I think the market's probably going to consolidate over to the right until those trade deal negotiations are wrapped up and the market has certainty as to whether we're going to have tariffs or we're not going to have tariffs, and what the tariffs are going to be and what they're going to be on. That's my feelings. Okay? Again, it's just an opinion. It's a theory. All right? It's not the law. It's not the Bible. I just think that the market might not be ready yet. And so I can probably see price action consolidating over prior consolidation while we wait for those trade deal negotiations to finalize. Okay, once they're down in pen and are in ink and everybody signed them, I think market's probably going to consolidate over prior consolidation again. We'll see. Everything's kind of juiced up. I've got to tell you, Nvidia's just cranking up there, and Amazon's looking good. A lot of these big cap stocks are looking up. I don't know whether they're ready to take a rest. I think they all look like they're ready to go hyperbolic. We'll see what happens. So there's SPY. We're bullish up here in the upper quadrant. Okay, that's extremely bullish up there. Okay, again, my favorite pattern here. Okay, is I like a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. All right, inside of a 2-hour uptrend. Okay, that's inside of a daily uptrend. That's inside of a weekly uptrend. We don't have a weekly uptrend, but let me just say, those weekly candles are not moving down. They're moving up. All right, if you can see them, they're up over the 17. We'll take a peek at them here. Just, you can see, can't really see them yet. We'll get to it. All right, weekly candles up over the 17. Inside of a monthly uptrend that's all over the all-time high anchored VWAP, okay? I think that's a recipe for success. I think you're going to find that those 10-minute uptrends over VWAP are going to last longer. They're going to go further. They're going to have a higher win rate than your 10-minute downtrends when you have an environment such as a 2-hour uptrend, inside a daily uptrend, inside a weekly uptrend, inside a monthly uptrend, all over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so that's what I see happening is my 10-minute uptrends are having a higher win rate than my 10-minute downtrends. As you can see by the looks of all these tails, or you can see, you know, these stop right here and then they come right back up. Everything's getting bought back up by the bulls. That's the way it looks right now. So my SPY pivot this morning, 601.70. Again, above it I'm a bull, below it I'm a bear. We got CPI. That's probably going to mess everything up. But again, below it I'm a bear. Above it I'm a bull. All right, I like, for options, I like 2 days till expiration Friday options. I like them on the increments or the multiples of 5. For instance, if I was going to pick calls, I like 600 calls, 605 calls, 610 calls, 615 calls, all right? If I was going to pick puts, all right, I like 600 puts, 595 puts, 590 puts, all right? I like them $5 to $15 out of the money, all right? They're much more affordable, and they offer a whole lot less risk if they happen to break away from you, all right? I like SPY 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, and I like them. I like 10-minute uptrends over the pivot, all right? We have a green erases red entry over 603. We'll see where that goes today. 603, okay, over a 10-minute uptrend over the pivot, all right? And they have a green erases red entry, all right, right over 603. Okay, if you get a 10-minute downtrend under the pivot, it's 601.70. And we have a red erases green entry below 600. All right, so that would be a red erases green entry. I think it's highly likely we come back here and visit this anchored VWAP, which currently resides at 591.50. Chances are we don't make it that far, but I think we come down here to the support area, which was right there about 597, probably about 597 if we do make our way down. Right down here. So there's SPY. This is a game plan. Okay, now if I get 10-minute downtrends, okay, that are under VWAP, and they happen to originate up here, okay, if I get a 10-minute downtrend that happens to originate up here, once it passes the pivot, I will be highly interested in jumping in on it, okay? If I get 10-minute uptrends that originate down here, long before I get a green erases red entry, all right, that originate down here, I will be highly interested in trading them once they pass over the pivot. Okay, so I'm not saying you can't trade a 10-minute uptrend, okay, that's down here, or a 10-minute downtrend that's up here, all right? You don't have to wait for this entry, 600 or 603 on the bullish side, 600 on the bearish side, okay? If I have a 10-minute downtrend and the rubber band candle's broken and we're underneath the pivot, I'm probably going to jump in on it, all right? So there's 10-minute. That's my game plan for this morning, all right? I like 2 days till expiration Friday options. I like 9 days till expiration Friday options. You can see right here. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP and breaking away from VWAP. Breaking up and away, okay? I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP and breaking down and away from VWAP, all right? Let's take a look at QQQ. All right, QQQ we got. I like the same options, all right? I like 2 days till expiration Friday options, all right? Fridays have more open interest. I like more open interest, provides more liquidity. More liquidity means a tighter bid-ask spread. For me, that works out a whole lot better. Okay, this got moved around. I don't know why TC2000 does this. You walk away for just a second and they move it around on you. Don't like that. All right, QQQ pivot, 533.50. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Got a green erases red entry over 534.65. Okay. Got a bearish red erases green entry under 530.70. Again, I like 2 days till expiration Friday options on the increments, on the multiples of 5. Okay, aka 535, 530, 540. You get the gist. All right, I like 9 days till expiration Friday options. Again, on the multiples of 5. I like them that are $5 to $15 out of the money. Okay, they offer less risk. I'm not going to get the performance that I would on a on an in the money 0 DTE option. You'll get penny for penny performance on those, but you'll find that you pay up dearly on those to be in them. All right, they cost more. All right, and you have to be worried. We could be getting some wild days, some big candles. All right, you get one of those big candles that moves against you. You got a small account, it could take you out. So be careful with those. That's why I like the out of the money ones. I like the 2 to 9 days. More time kind of slows that option down. All right, makes it more tradable, easier to enter, easier to get out of. Okay, so there's QQQ on the 10-minute chart. Let's go back to the QQQ daily, and we'll pick it up here on the scratch. Okay, QQQ got, God bless me, outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over the trap. That's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. Over the uptrend line, also bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. Up here in quadrant 4, bullish. Higher lows, higher highs, that's an uptrend, also bullish. Everything bullish. QQQ, SPY. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. I got to zoom in because I can hardly see. Higher low, higher high, closing over the trap. That's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. Over the uptrend line, that's bullish. Over this downtrend line, that's bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, bullish. Up here in the upper third, that's bullish. Okay, price moves up, holds the higher ground. That's bullish. All right, making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend, also bullish. Again, up here in the upper third, that's bullish. Let's take a look at IWM. Okay, IWM, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. Over the 17, that's bullish. Okay, over the trap, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, bullish. Over the uptrend line, bullish. Okay, so everything looking good. Moving up, holding the higher ground, now breaking out. Okay, not quite in the upper third yet. All right, so we're just kind of neutral. Again, you go down and you give it up. That makes you neutral. Okay, we're now starting to get some bullish breakout. Okay, you go up, you give it up. That's neutral. So as you can see, we went down and then we gave it up. So that makes us just neutral. Now we're getting some movement a little bit further past that neutral area. We're getting some bullish activity finally. These last 3 days, you can see price breaking out of this higher ground hold up there. We were holding underneath this all-time high anchored VWAP. Now we are starting to climb on top and over this uptrend line. So there's IWM. Let's take a look at FNGB. All right, FNGB lower high, lower low, closing above the bullish trap. Oh, that's bullish. Over the 17, bullish. Up here, quadrant 4, bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, also bullish. Over in the uptrend line, also bullish there. Everything looking good. Moving up, making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend. There's a low, there's a higher low. There's a high, there's a higher high. So continue to make higher highs. Nice grind up on FNGB. We watch FNGB. It is the 10 of the most heavily weighted stocks, securities, inside QQQ and SPY, okay? When those 10 move as a pack, all right, they can drag the rest of the index along with it. So that's why we watch FNGB. All right, let's take a look at our technicals, T21.22. You can see we spent our day, half the morning, well, all of the morning in the overbought zone, and the afternoon we spent in the buy zone. So nice work. Holding the higher ground up there. Looking good. T21.23, what do we got here? On the 15-minute chart, look at this. Oh, bullish gap that never got filled by the bears. Another bullish gap never got filled by the bears. Another bullish gap that never got filled by the bears. Another bullish gap that never got filled by the bears. Again, consolidation over prior consolidation, that is a bullish environment. Okay, anytime you see price gap up and then move to the right, holding that higher ground, that's a bullish environment. Again, we got gap up, move over to the right. All right, trade up, move over to the right. All of this, see all these levels, making new highs day after day after day. This thing is looking fantastic. All right, price up over this 200 SMA. That's bullish. Up over a prior all-time high. Also bullish. Making higher lows. See, there's a low. There's a higher low right there. And higher highs. See the high? And some higher highs. That's bullish. All right, price action up over this prior consolidation. Consolidating over prior consolidation. That's bullish, okay? See a nice move up. And then a flag over to the right. See a move up. A little bit thicker. Okay, a move up. And then over to the right. And now we're starting to get that breakout to the upside. Okay, things looking good. T2123 15-minute chart. Still in an uptrend. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. 3 more green candle bars yesterday. Let's take a look at the price action and the nature of the price action. It's not just looking at the candles. It's about looking at the nature of the candles. These candles or bars are telling us a story. Okay, it's up to us to kind of look at the candles and determine what the story, how the story comprehends to us. Okay, so let's take a look at the 3-bar. Let's zoom out a little bit and you can see price action. It's the same product, so it's going to be the same thing. Again, moving up, again over, holding that higher ground, and you can see price action now starting to break out to the upside up there. We're up over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. Price moves up, holds the higher ground. That's always bullish. Okay, this is T2123. Okay, you can see on the past here, we've made a high with those green 17 EMA balls right there. Okay, and we're making higher highs, so that puts it in an uptrend. That's also bullish. Now on the daily chart, okay, we're still not in an uptrend on the daily chart. We're close, but we're not quite there. Okay, see, here's the first high to come to right there. If we need to take out that high to negate the downtrend on the daily chart that we're in. Now to take out that high, okay, got to get back past these 2 prior all-time highs, this flat 200 SMA, and all of this consolidation right through there, okay? I think they can do it, okay? You got inflation. Inflation brings in more revenue. More revenue brings in, guess what? A higher price tag for these securities. So I think it's possible you can see price get back up on top of this. We'll see, and probably get poised up or in the driver's seat to challenge the prior all-time high. Okay, so that's T2123. All right, let's take a look at FNGB. That was the daily chart. Notice the daily not quite in an uptrend yet. We got to take out that high. Okay, the good news is it's in a downtrend and it's moving up. All right, it's not moving down, so it's moving up. All right, that was the daily chart. Back to the 2-hour. Okay, FNGB, yesterday's price action. Okay, that would be the 10th. Okay, you can see a lot of selling. Pull back to the 200, and then a pop in the afternoon. All right, like they're all buying it all right back. All right, look at FNGB from the bigger picture. Price, again, moving up. All right, holding the higher ground. That's bullish. Okay, up over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. Up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. That's bullish. Zoom out a little bit here. Over the uptrend line, also bullish. FNGB looking bullish. Again, you can see right here, consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, that's a bullish environment. All right, something to make a note of. See this? Consolidation over prior consolidation. That is bullish. Over prior consolidation. Over prior consolidation. Over prior consolidation. Okay, all of this is bullish. Again, up, 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 and away. Okay, they're looking good. That's this FNGB. All right, let's take a look at some sectors. We got economic data coming out in about 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes we get some economic data. That will be the CPI. All right, let me move back over to How about that one right there? Let's take a look at XLE. XLE in an uptrend, finally starting to melt up. Higher low, higher high, closing over the downtrend line 1, but still under downtrend line 2. Excuse me. Still underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's a neutral situation. Price action moving down but giving it up makes it neutral. All right, we're no longer in the lower third. All right, we're definitely not in the upper third. So that makes us just neutral through here. Okay, but price action has moved up and held this higher ground. We're making higher lows and higher highs. It's been a while since we've made another higher high. I'm going to say about a little more than 2.5 weeks. All right, so good news is we're kind of hooking around, making that high now. We'll see how far they go with this. That's XLE, just neutral through here. Not quite bullish yet. All right, not until we get up over all-time high anchored VWAP or break a couple of these downtrend lines. We're still underneath the downtrend lines, but the daily chart is making higher lows and higher highs. So we're getting a pullback to our downtrend. You can see the last time we were back at the downtrend, we got slapped down, but they failed to make a lower low. All right, instead they made a higher low. So we'll see if the bulls get inspired enough to make the higher high. All right, this time around. There's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. That's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. Attacking that downtrend line, still neutral through there. Attacking the all-time high, 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's a post-COVID high right there. Attacking that 3-year high anchored VWAP. Okay, that's kind of neutral. Attacking it right there. Again, we got closing over a bullish trap. That's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. Making higher lows right here. There's a high. Making higher highs. That's an uptrend. So USO starting to get bullish right now. Still kind of neutral. All right. Got to remember, we're still underneath this downtrend line. Okay, just like XLE. Still underneath some downtrend lines. All right, so we're just neutral through here. Okay, we're not in the lower third. We're not in a downtrend. We're in an uptrend. Okay, just not in the lower third. We're just kind of neutral. Again, you move down, you give it up. That's just neutral. Okay, still underneath the downtrend line. All right, see, obviously, here comes the data. Big rip to the upside, 604.50. We'll see. Okay, it's USO. UNG. UNG lower high, lower low, closing underneath the bearish trap. That's bearish. Underneath the downtrend line, that's bearish. Underneath this really low bar, this 12-month high anchored VWAP, all right, that's bearish. Down here in the lower third, bearish. We are up over this uptrend line. Okay, so it's kind of neutral through there, but I got to tell you, we're still in a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. Okay, we haven't made a lower low in a while. All right, but we're definitely in a downtrend because we failed to make any higher highs. So there's UNG on the daily chart. Okay, down here in the lower third, that's bearish. Let's take a look at GLD. GLD in an uptrend. GLD closing under a bearish trap or a bearish cross. Okay, that's kind of neutral. Closing over the 17, that's bullish. Closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. Price moves up, holds the higher ground, that's bullish. Up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. Up over this uptrend line, that's bullish. You can see price moving up, holding the higher ground on a bigger picture right through here. Okay, that's bullish. See the move up. And then over to the right, up there in quadrant 4, that's bullish. All right, so gold, bullish up here in quadrant 4 and in an uptrend. All right, let's take a look at silver. All right, silver got an inside day. That's a new 12-year high right there. That's a lower high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap. Bullish over the 17, bullish. All up here in quadrant 4, obviously bullish. Okay, over the all-time, over this 12-year high anchored VWAP, that's bullish. Over the all-time high, also bullish. Here's silver on the daily chart. Okay, that's bullish. Making higher lows and higher highs. That's definitely an uptrend. That's bullish. Let's take a look at a few sectors. SMH. Okay, SMH, higher low, higher high, over the trap, over the 17, up here in quadrant 4, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, or again, higher lows, higher highs, all of that is bullish. Again, we got, here's consolidation, we're breaking through all of this consolidation. Looks like about 5 months of consolidation right through here, and we're breaking up through the backside. Okay, breaking through major resistance, which would be the highs, okay, is very bullish. Breaking through the highs and consolidating over this consolidation would be extremely bullish on the SMH. Just keep an eye on Intel. That's working out really nice. All right, SMH, that's bullish. XLK is the same thing. Again, up in quadrant 4, attacking the all-time highs. We're dangerously close to attacking those all-time highs up there. You can see up over the trap, bullish, over the 17, over the uptrend line, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay? You move down, you give it up. Wow, nice move back up for XLK. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, same thing on XLF. Higher lows, higher highs, that's bullish. Over the all-time high anchored VWAP, moving up, holding the higher ground, all of that is bullish. Okay, all of that is bullish up there. XLF, all right, up here in quadrant 4, okay, up over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, bullish up there. Let's take a look at IYT. IYT is starting to wake up, okay? We had to move up over to the right, kind of a bull flag. Finally starting to get that breakout of that bull flag. Higher low, higher high. Closing over the trap. All right, closing over the 17, closing over the uptrend line, closing over the all-time high anchored VWAP. IYT starting to wake up here, maybe making a move up to quadrant 4. We'll see. Just neutral through here, but definitely on the bullish side of neutrality. Okay, IYT getting up on top of that all-time high anchored VWAP. Daily chart, that's bullish. Again, moving up, holding that higher ground. Look how price came from lower quadrant 1 up to quadrant 3 and held quadrant 3. Not the high side, but the low side. Looking good on the transports. Finally waking up, they were in an uptrend, but I got to say, they were in that pullback for about 3-4 weeks. So there's IYT. Let's take a look at the economic package. All right, we're going to start out with max pain. Max pain is 600. Put to call ratio is 1 put for each call that expires today. That's for all the SPY options that do expire today. So max pain for SPY is 600. All right, let's take a look at the dollar chart. The dollar, you can see closed down here in a downtrend. You can see it making low. Here's a high, lower highs, and lower lows. See the low? There's a higher low, we made a lower low. There's a lower high, we made a lower low. Okay, we're in a downtrend. We broke through all of this major support. Okay, so we're underneath major support, which now becomes, guess what? Minor resistance. Okay, so minor resistance up overhead. We are in a bear flag consolidating under minor resistance. Okay, we like a weak dollar. It helps us sell our goods and services. As a consumer, it sucks, okay? As a consumer, it's not that great, all right? Because a weak dollar means our money doesn't go as far. But as far as business, when you want to sell your goods and services globally, you want a weak dollar because it makes you more competitive against the others in the same marketplace that are also selling the same goods and services that you sell, all right? You want to be competitive, okay? You don't want any tariffs on your stuff. What you want is to have free trade, Okay, so that's what we're looking for. All right, dollar in a downtrend and in a bear flag. Let's take a look at the earnings. Okay, last night we had, what did we have last night? I think we had, no, nobody there. Wednesday, tonight, we got Oracle. It's $500 billion. They're going to report tonight after 4:15. Okay, you can see we got some familiar names. All right, Victoria's Secret. You guys have all heard of those. Familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. Oracle is the headliner. $500 billion. They report tonight after the close, probably about 4:30. Thursday, okay, Adobe, $177 billion. Report after the close. Tomorrow night, okay. Other than that, everything else is just familiar names. Nothing that's really going to move the markets, okay? Not like CPI data, okay? Friday, again, we got a lot of undecideds here. They can't say if they want to report in the morning or in the evening or even if the P&L is ready yet, okay? So there you go for Friday. So that's it. Two for this week, all right? You got Oracle on Wednesday night. That's tonight. And then you got, what was that again? I think it was Adobe. Yeah, Adobe, all right? This Thursday evening. That's tomorrow night. Okay, let's look at the economic chart. Economic calendar. Again, CPI comes out at 8:30. All right. Price action. Let's take a look at CPI. I just want to see what it says. Okay, CPI month over month. Expected range 0.1 to 0.03. Well, we came in at 0.01. All right. That's the low side of the range for inflation. That is very good. All right, year over year, we were expected to be between 2.4 and 2.5. We are at 2.4, so we're on the low side of that over year. Ex food and energy, we are expected to be between flat and 0.05. We came in at flat to 0.5. We came in at 0.1. That's really low, okay? Ex-food and energy year over year. Expected 2.8 to 3.0. We came in 2.8. So we're on the low side of all of that, all right? If there was ever a call for a rate cut, that would be the calling, all right? Here's the problem. We don't have any certainty out of the administration yet. Trade deals aren't finalized. Nothing is signed, and that's the problem that we're having right now. So that's CPI. That came out 8:30. I just went over it. The numbers are fantastic, all right? They're looking good. Tomorrow, jobless claims at 8:30. PPI final demand at 8:30. This is tomorrow. Okay, natural gas report at 10:30, and that's it. Friday, really light day. Consumer sentiment at 10 and a rig count at 1. All right, that's it for me today, traders. All right, I'll see you guys all in about 30 minutes. 30 minutes, all right? We'll come in and open up the market. Nice pop up this morning, okay? Everything's on fire. It's up at 606 right now, SPY. All right, I'll see you guys in about 30 minutes, okay? 30, 40 minutes. Let me get this video rendered for all my favorites out there in podcast land and digital land. Thank you.